Hello, I'm recording this video in order to provide you with a sort of checklist to point out some of the strategies that this travel writer uses in this article that can serve as a sort of a guide to you to assist you in reviewing and assessing your own travel article. Um, so I'm going to be pointing out the good practices or strategies that Mary Gonzalez uses in this article that I am encouraging you to emulate. You might be hearing a dog barking in the background. That's my neighbor's dog. I apologize on his behalf. I'm hoping it's not too loud. Um, okay, good. So the first thing I want to point out is that this article, because it is not an academic paper, remember that the travel article is perhaps the one assignment in this course that is not a formal academic type writing. Travel writing is a popular publication. It will be generally published in a newspaper or a magazine or a website or um, publications of that nature. And so the formatting will adhere to not academic practices such as MLA formatting, APA formatting, and so on, but the formatting will adhere to standard magazine type formatting. So um, that's one thing that I definitely want you to check for to make sure that you're not using any kind of MLA heading or APA cover page and all that stuff, and that you do not have a bibliography, a works cited page or references page at the end of your article. That is not necessary. That is not standard in travel writing or other types of articles. So instead, you will notice that the page is the first page, what we call the first page has at the very top the title of the article. Good, the title of the article, and here Mary Gonzalez gives her article a title that announces quite explicitly what is the main purpose and focus of the article. She's not being mysterious. She is, being very explicit about what the article is about, exploring the country one village at a time. She uses an exclamation mark to inject a tone of excitement and an upbeat tone, and that's quite appropriate for this article. Um, Notice also that from the title, you can get the sense that her target audience is not foreigners but Belizeans. And we can tell that because she says exploring the country. If her target audience was foreign travelers coming to Belize, she would name the country. She would say exploring Belize one village at a time. But no, her target audience is fellow Belizeans like herself, and therefore it is appropriate that her title indicates that, and you definitely want to do that as well in your title. Below the title is what we call the byline in magazine in article writing, and so it says written by Mary Gonzalez, and the date is also indicated. The specific formatting of these things you can model off the article that you chose last week as your model article. Some of you have chosen this one, and others of you have chosen others. Let those be your guide. Good. Another thing that you will notice on the first page of the travel article is what is called a cover photo. Very similar to the photo that you use on, say, those of you who have a Facebook account. There's a large photo at the top of your Facebook profile page. You call that a cover photo. Likewise, in magazine publishing, at the top of an article is a fairly large and bold photograph That's the cover photo. Choose your cover photo carefully to make sure that it is crisp, it is attractive, and that it reflects the main essence or the main purpose of your article. Good. All right, so, and then you will notice that there is no caption under this photo, and that is for two reasons. The photo is self-explanatory, so this particular publisher or writer chooses not to say what the photo is showing because it's self-explanatory. And also, there is no photographer credit, and that is because the photographer is the author herself or the magazine that the photographer belongs to. So remember that so long as you have ownership of the photo, it is your photo, you have taken it yourself, then there is no need to credit yourself as the author. Good? All right, but if not, then make sure somewhere right along here you indicate who the photo was obtained from. Good. Notice also that this is an article. It is not a brochure, and so right from the very first page of the article, you should make sure that you have text, that you have words. Do not let your cover photo occupy the entire first page. It should ideally take up about half or one third of the page. At the very top, right underneath the title and byline. All right, you notice this photo takes up about half or one third of the page, and then there is a good amount of text on the remainder of the page. Make sure that that happens in your article for just about all of the first drafts, your first drafts that I have looked at so far. Most of you are doing that, so that's good. When you revise, you keep that, making sure that there's a good amount of text on your first page. Good. Um, Another thing that I want to point out on this first page, let me say I have a note here for you. Yeah, I already mentioned that the cover photo reflects the essence of the entire article. Moving along, notice here that in the introduction, in the introductory paragraph of the article, the writer injects um, a sense of wonder or curiosity in order as a hook, to draw in the reader. She says it started with a phone call. The person on the staticky line stated she was calling from St. Paul's Bank. Immediately, I envisioned myself lounging at the bank of a river somewhere, and the wheels began turning. The phone call ended, and I immediately turned to our good friend Google. Where is St. Paul's Bank? So she's questioning, she's curious, and likewise, she is drawing you into that questioning mode and getting you intrigued and interested in finding out where is St. Paul's Bank. So I think this is a good example of a hook that both introduces the topic or the main focus of the article and captivates you as the reader. So that's a good model for a hook in the upper part, the first part of the introductory paragraph. Notice also that notice also that the writer kind of hints at who she is. Right? In your introductory paragraph, you want to introduce yourself, but do it in a subtle way because remember, travel writing is not supposed to be too writer focused. You want to introduce yourself and insert yourself every now and then in your article, but not too much. And definitely in the introductory paragraph, you want to indicate who you are. And if you have other travel companions with you, you make that known very early as well. And preferably in the introductory paragraph. So here, Mary Gonzalez says, wait, double head cabbage, time to alert the boss. So, we know that, she has a boss. She's working and we're getting to know a little bit about herself. And then she continues in the second paragraph to indicate some more information about herself and her travel companion. When she says, Tamara has been in love with the name of this village since she heard it. And now here I was, finding a way to go visit. Excited at the prospect of finally setting foot in Doublehead's cabbage, we began planning. So she's subtly introducing herself and her travel companion, Tamara. So we know who you are, who we are going along with vicariously on this travel journey. Now that she has introduced herself and her travel companion. So that's very good. You want to emulate that. Here also we see an example of the writer indicating or asserting a certain kind of tone or attitude, right? She uses um, sentence fragments here. She says, room booked at the Howler Monkey Lodge. Wheels, Crystal Auto Rentals had us covered. She's using kind of an informal style here by using sentence fragments. It's very effective because it kind of gives you a familiar feel, a familiarity with the writer. She's not being too formal, she's not being too stuffy because remember, it's not a formal academic paper, right? It's a light read, a travel article, and so this kind of semi-informal style, not semi, quite informal style is quite appropriate for a travel article. Here as well, you see two instances in which Mira Gonzalez uses hyperlinks, right? Two hyperlinks that provide her readers with relevant and useful websites. You'll notice that throughout the article, she uses just a select few web links, not too many. And so if you do choose and you are advised to incorporate a few web links into your article, but do so sparingly and selectively so that your links do not overwhelm the article. And also notice how smoothly she integrates the web link right into her discussion, right? Room booked at Howler Monkey Lodge. Wheels, Crystal Auto Rentals had us covered. Good. So you let your links, integrate smoothly into your discourse. Moving along to the next page, again, I just want to reiterate how large and bold and unapologetic the photography is. You are advised to do likewise and to let all your photos have a good showing. Don't use photos that are too small and cheesy and stingy. Go big with the photos. Like I said, just like the cover photo, it's okay to make your photos about a third of the page, a half of the page, since you are publishing this electronically or submitting this electronically. You don't have to worry about page count, and you don't have to worry about printing costs. So go be bold with your photography, right? Let me see what note I have here if I can remind myself. Don't remember. Yeah, but about the photograph. Um, Here is another practical image that the writer uses to assist the readers, providing a map of the area so that, travelers can know what highway route to take and so on. I have to confess though, as some of you will remember from the other draft of this article, or version that's on Articulate Rise. This image took up the entire page. And down here, there is a huge logo of Tropic Air. For that reason, I didn't like this particular image too much. It was kind of unattractive and it looked like an advertisement for Tropic Air. The reason why I cut off the Tropic Air ad at the bottom here was simply because it was taking up too much of the page and I wanted to be able to show you some of the text. And that's something that I want you to bear in mind, that the images that you choose Be careful that they do not look like advertisements, that you're advertising for a company or whatever, right? Your travel article should feature, best if you take photographs of the place and so on, but don't let your photographs be images that are just nakedly commercial in their appearance. No, it's not a commercial that you're right. You're producing. It is not a brochure. It's an article. Good. That's a beautiful cow, isn't it? Um, all right. Here is a very good use of narrative in this travel art. That travel writing is essentially expository writing, right? It's mostly expository writing. The main purpose is to share information. However, most good creative writing employ a variety of modes. So here we have the employment of dialogue, right? And so then the this gives the article sort of a narrative feel to it, right? Like a storytelling quality. This use of narrative gives to the article, and that kind of pulls the reader into the action and makes you experience the what's going on in the article rather than just passively listening to information being reported. So the use of borrowing some techniques from narrative writing is a very good strategy used here in this travel article, and I know some of you have in your first draft, and that's good. That's a good move. Um, moving right along. Let's see. I like the fact that, and I think you'll appreciate the fact that in this particular article, we see that this photo was taken right there on the trip, and information that was displayed on the walls at one of the visitor center. The traveler, the writer, took these photos and reproduced them right here for you. So you have an idea of what are some of the literature that's available at the sanctuary, the place that they went to learn about the baboons and the so on and so forth. An instance in which the writer is really revealing her personality, and again, being personable and familiar with the reader. She says, aha, here we would finally discover why double head cabbage, da 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 da. This aha, kind of, um, conveys her excitement and her just her friendly down to earth tone. She's being informal again, and that's quite appropriate in this article. It gives it a good appropriate feel of friendliness and familiarity. That's a good thing to emulate. What else? What else do I want to point out about this article? And right along, she is just um, describing and narrating to us the different places that they've visited, the photography. This one looks kind of blurry, but in my apologies there, in the original article, this photo is quite much clearer and crisper than this when I turned it into a PDF. Some of the quality of the photo got lost, but this is a great photo that showing off the monkey, showing off himself. So go ahead and take your time. Again, you don't want to have two-minute photographs, and select them. I would say a good number is between 2 and 6, and let them be bold and beautiful and crisp. And the photos should tell their own story, and the photos should complement directly what you are saying, what you are discussing in that particular portion of the article. Bear that in mind. This photo is rather blurry in the original article online itself, so I just wanted to point out to you, don't do that. Don't use blurry photos. That one was not my fault. All right, and let me see here now. We've reached the end of the article, and I wanted to point out to you what a good job this writer did in winding up and wrapping up the article. She uses the very effective technique of ending her article by narrating the um, the ending of her day or the ending of the trip as she and her travel companion are winding down at the end of the day. Um, it is a great way of ending this article because it gives us, the reader, a sense of completion and a sense of satisfaction. And she says, by the time we made it back to Bermudan Landing, named after Bermudan grass, and to our resort, we had quickly fallen into the village life vibe. The hammock called to us. The breeze was tempting and the beers were cold enough. There was nothing to do but relax and take in the sounds of a dwindling evening, maybe a quick dip in the pool to refresh after an evening of heat and trekking. When the night blanketed us, the stars shone brighter than ever, and a huge silver moon lit our way. Long past dinner and long after our chatter had subsided to simply a few words here and there, we could only reflect on what a serendipitous day we had had. We were happy to have found out more about the settlements and excited to have, what's that word? Something, my bad, to have crossed off a few unique villages in our backroads Belize list. So a really nice, pleasant, satisfactory way of winding down the essay. Sorry, not the essay, the article, and a good technique to emulate. And then I guess she couldn't resist slipping in a little exciting, indication of what's the next trip when she says, Black Man Eddie, here we come next. Right? So yeah, all in all, there's a lot to to learn about travel writing from this particular model, not the least of which is a little bio, a little author bio that Gonzalez and tacks on here at the end of the article. You can do likewise if you wish. Remember, though, to include your name in the byline at the very top of the article, below the title of the article. But here at the very end, it'll be helpful to your readers if you add a little, little extra information about yourself as the writer. People love to know, something about the writer, information that's relevant to the topic that you are writing about. Good. So all in all, as I said, these are some pointers to give you some indication of what are some of the key elements of good travel writing that I want you to look for in your own article, as well as others that I'm sure you have observed in the samples that you read and annotated last week. Good. So thank you. Let's see.